Look Who It Is by Alan Carr. Even though he was wearing sunglasses, you could see Kanye West was staring at us thinking, what the hell? The camp one was wearing a gold lame tracksuit and the beardy one was wearing MC Hammer pantaloons made of tin foil. We looked like two oven-cooked turkeys that had just run a marathon. I think he thought we were simple. It was while standing there in the Friday Night Project studio explaining to Kanye West what dogging was that I had a flashback to when my life wasn't so surreal, wasn't so out there, wasn't so wig-based. Look at me now, for Christ's sake, standing in front of a mirror, my eyes following the line of my stockings up from my black stilettos to the silver sequin negligee. It's not a dream because I can actually hear myself saying, "But would Tina Turner wear this?" How did this happen? My life was becoming about as real as the plastic tits that had been rammed down the front of my top. No one told me it'd be like this. Not that I'm complaining. I knew it'd be a lot of smiling, waving, good press, bad press, people gossiping about me, but I didn't realise it would happen at this pace. It was only when the show finished and I sat in my dressing room and had made time for gentle reflection that I realised I'd been in front of millions of viewers dressed as a gimp. The Friday Night Project has been a wonderful experience for me, albeit a wonderful experience with a learning curve reminiscent of a cliff face. I walked into the studio on that first cold January Thursday morning in 2006, not taking it particularly seriously. It was only when I saw the huge 8-foot portrait of my face next to Justin staring back at me that it finally dawned on me what I'd let myself in for. This was serious. It was like a punch in the stomach. People forget how Justin and I and Princess, the production company that created the Friday Night Project, had to build things up after the previous series. We'd been left with a vacuum. A familiar brand, but nothing to back it up. An empty shell that needed to be filled not only with stuff, but entertaining stuff. After the last series, Channel 4 had had a complete clear-out of the main hosts, and Justin and my good self had been chosen as the replacements. Obviously, being relatively new faces, we were a gamble. We weren't as established as Jimmy Carr, and as we found out to our displeasure, on that first show we couldn't fill the seats in the studio. We had to cover up the empty places with a discreet black cover. Employing adept camera work, the director managed to make the studio look full to the brim and fooled our lovely viewers at home that Thursday night at the Friday Night Project was party night. Justin and I were obviously connecting with someone, though, because after a few shows we were filling all the seats. Not only that, they were turning people away at the door. I've never watched the Friday Night Project, or any other programme I've been on for that matter. I can't stand watching myself. I find it uncomfortable. I start begrudging my campness. The critics have slated the programme. It's a Friday late-night entertainment show. Of course they're going to hate it. What were they expecting? A world in action? Even so, I could tell the show was going down well because, say what you want about the great British public, they're not backward in coming forward. If they like you, they will tell you they like you. Shopping, eating, catching a show, attending a funeral, "Alan, we love you!" will come out of nowhere. You'll look up and more often than not there will be a gaggle of girls wolf-whistling and waving, poking their heads out the back of a Cortina window, a bit like dogs do when they need some air. We were starting to get audiences who were real fans. The first few shows had been uninspiring audience-wise, plus we'd noticed that a handful of the seats in the studio were suspiciously vacant once the coat of cash had happened. For those of you who don't know it, the coat of cash is very simple. A celebrity, I use that term loosely, runs into the audience with a coat covered in fivers and tenors, and the audience has to rip the money off. The audience go wild at this point, and it is pure chaos as people try to get their money's worth off the poor coat wearer. Thankfully, as the show's success grew, so did the enthusiasm of the audience, and we got people there who enjoyed the show whether they had grabbed a handful of fivers or not. With this new burst of love from the audience, our confidence grew, and so did the studio. We went up to the biggest one at London studios. We were on hallowed ground. This was where Ant and Dec filmed their Saturday night takeaway. Justin and I were thrilled. I'd been so worried at the beginning of the run that I couldn't do it. Justin made it look so easy. He can literally talk about anything. Plus, amazingly, sound like he gives a shit, which is a fantastic skill to have.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?